Here's a food chain lesson in a 15:1 Regents biology class. In this particular class, I also have a one-on-one support for one of my students. At this point in the lesson, they just came in the room and they're silently working on their do now.
Does anybody want to refresh all of the class that was out yesterday? What did we cover? So we can look at our notes. So if you were here yesterday, great, Rolo, just raise your hand. If you were here yesterday, let's whip out our notebooks. Let's take a look so we can inform the rest of the beings that were not here yesterday. So Rolo will get us started. What did we learn about yesterday, Rolo?
Symbiosis, the
great.
different possible
different types of
symbiosis. So it's predatoralism.
Different types of what? Why don't you check out your notebook so we can clarify the language? Okay, can somebody help him out? Symbiosis, he's on the right track. But what is symbiosis from yesterday? Go ahead.
Commensalism.
Hold on one second. Right, so ways that different organisms interact within an ecosystem. There were 3 ways that organisms interact. So this is a review for all of you who weren't here yesterday. Let's make sure we're focused in on our class. Elijah, go ahead. Tell us one way. Okay, give us a little bit more.
Animal that's on a host, and the animal that's on a host is like in what it needs, where the host is negative.
Perfect. I'm glad you added that negative part. So parasite-host interaction, one of them is benefiting positively, is getting something out of the other, and one is being harmed. Does anybody have an example of a parasite-host interaction? Either from yesterday or maybe a new example. David, can you lift your head up, please? Parasite-host interaction from yesterday. Or maybe someone that was absent yesterday, maybe even figure out. So if you're being harmed by a little critter, what might be an example of that? Go ahead, tell us.
A tick and a park ranger.
Okay, a tick and a park ranger. I love it. So in that example, who is the parasite? The tick or the park ranger? The tick, those little tiny bugs that crawl. And sometimes carry Lyme disease, they feed off your blood. So that would be the harmer, or the parasite, and the host would be the park ranger. Great example. Okay, there were 2 other types of symbiotic relationships we talked about yesterday. So we just covered parasitism, there are 2 more. Who's got them? Give me one example of, here. One example of symbiosis or a symbiotic relationship other than parasitism. Okay, so the crocodile and the bird are helping each other out. So if they're helping each other out, what type of relationship is that? If it's mutually beneficial. Don't call out my love. Mutually beneficial. Mutualism. Great. So everybody heard that? So we have mutualism, we have parasitism, and then there's the other one where one is being positively affected and the other one's like not affected either way. What do we call that, Dominic? Good, so repeat commensalism. Yeah, it's like when you graduate, like a commencement ceremony. Commensalism, it sounds like that. Commensalism, one more time.
Communism.
Commensalism is the last one. Okay, so we have 3 different types of relationships. Today we're going to move forward. Listen, Dominic, this is a little bit different. We're not talking anymore about necessarily 2 organisms interacting in a way that we talked about yesterday, but we're going to talk about the transfer of energy. So your first do now question that you guys just tackled was about energy, about why we need energy. Can anyone give me an example of something that your body does throughout the day that requires energy? So anything, but let's get some hands up because I want to call on some peeps. Darren, I'm going to call on you anyway. What requires energy that you do? Okay, perfect. Walking. Dominic, give me something else. Exercising, totally. Give me something else. Staying awake even.
Thinking.
Keep your eyes open. So think. Do you know that thinking is actually the majority of your energy all day long? This comes from your noggin. Your noggin uses more energy than the rest of your body. Word, totally. Okay, so all of these things require energy. Does anybody know, or can you tell me where you get your energy from? Maybe think back to this morning or this afternoon if some of you have already consumed today. Raise your hands, guys. Dominic, tell me.
Breakfast.
Okay, breakfast, what'd you have?
Said shit. That's all.
What'd you have?
I had bacon, egg, and cheese.
Ooh, bacon, egg, and cheese, didn't we all? So bacon, egg, and cheese sounds really nice. Let's go back a little bit further. So where does the bacon, egg, and cheese get its energy from?
From the cow.
Hold on, we gotta raise our hands.
From the
We
cow.
know? Okay, I hear pigs, but I want to see some hands raised. Bacon, egg, and cheese. Pigs, beans, chickens, where the eggs for the chickens. Okay, let's go back even further. So we're talking about cows, we're talking about chickens. I gotta go back further than cows and chickens. Where did cows and chickens get their energy from, Asia?
The sun.
Rolo! From the grass, right? So from the grass seed, which gets its energy from where? The sun. So this all goes back to the sun. Does anybody know what it's called when we connect organisms like that and show
Chemical
change?
reaction.
Oh, please. Yeah. We're connecting organisms and the flow of energy. What is that called? The connection of organisms and the flow of energy. Elijah?
That's good.
You're right. Did you guys hear him? Guys, I lost you all. Stay with me. It's called a food chain. So today what we're going to explore is how do we actually represent food chains, Dominic, and what are the rules in setting up a food chain. You all right? Let's get out our notebooks. It's going to be really quick. We just have a lot of vocab today that we need to talk through. I believe we're, 15? Perfect. Our aim for today, Luis, what does it say on the board over there? Okay, great. So how does changing it ever so slightly energy move from one organism to another? Food chain represents energy being transferred. Something that came out today that I wanted to debunk. I have a couple of tricky questions for you, and I want to hear what you guys think. If you guys could please raise your hands before you scream out really exciting answer, I would love that. Here's my first question. Someone this morning was arguing with me that a bumblebee is a producer. And listen to their thought process. This is how she defended it. She said that a bumblebee is a producer because it produces honey for other organisms to eat. Can anyone raise their hand and tell me why we wouldn't classify a bee as a producer? What's the problem? Thinking? Okay, Luis, I want to hear from you first, and then we'll build on your answer. Can't hear you, dear. Okay, it's not an autotroph. Why? Can't hear you. Okay, so it's not an autotroph. I love that. That's a great start. Now you should build on his answer. Okay, so they may need other supplies in order to make that honey. I hear you. But listen, can you look back at the definition of a producer? What's the problem with a honeybee being considered a producer? What process is missing there? Dominic, what's with you?
What does he consume? Wait, no, he consumes
Hold on. Listen to the question. The question is, why don't we consider the bee a producer? Because a producer makes food. If the producer is making honey, why can't we consider him a producer?
Because it doesn't make his own food by itself, man. It relies on something else.
Not that. We're losing it. What's the key part here with the producer? What do they have to do?
They have to have the sunlight help them make their food, but they use the flowers.
Right, so they don't do photosynthesis. They don't have chloroplasts, they're not made of plant cells. Similarly, my argument with her is that mammals should also be considered producers because don't humans, females, produce food for babies? Right? Breastfeeding. We don't consider human females producers, and the reason for that is we also have to consume nutrients in order to be able to produce that milk. So we're not producers, we're not the base level of the food chain because we can't take the sun and turn it into energy, which would be awesome. We can't do that. Right, so I just wanted to make sure you guys were okay. I brought in some stuff from my childhood. You ready? If we were to construct a food chain up here, which of these four creatures or organisms should I put first? Rach, which one? The grass. Okay, so listen. All day long this has come up. Why does the grass, again, I'm repeating the same thing. Why does the grass have to go first? Go ahead, Rach.
jaguar.
Hold on. Who's gonna directly consume the plant? My rodent, my fox, or my cat?
The cat.
The rodent, right? So the rodent's gonna eat the grass.
I just know it.
And then we have who? Who do we want to put next? The cat or the fox?
The cat.
The cat, and then hopefully
big
maybe the
boy.
fox will eat the cat.
And the big
Beautiful.
boy.
Anyone think that they can come and draw this food chain correctly up on the board?
The way you do it here.
Yeah, I want to see you draw a food chain. Go ahead, Elijah, since you're up in the front. In the meantime, while Elijah is drawing the food chain up on the board, yeah, while he's drawing it, a couple of questions for you. So, my first question. Name for me an organism that's up in that food chain that is a consumer. Name one consumer in the food chain. Luis? I can't hear you. Rodent is what you're saying? The rat or the rodent. Sure. Name for me, here's something challenging. Who is the primary consumer? What? Do we know what primary means? If you're in primary school, is that like at the beginning of it? It means first, right? So primary consumer, Thierno, which one of those three creatures would be a primary? Good. So the primary consumer consumes the producer first. Naisha, who's the secondary consumer? Okay, answer mine first. Secondary consumer.
The cat.
Beautiful. And the tertiary consumer, so now tertiary means third, would be the
Fox.
fox. Beautiful. What's your question?
What if when it turns to something they don't have the sun? Are we already supposed to know that the sun is the
Okay, careful with your language. The sun there is not an autotroph. The sun is what provides the producers with solar energy to convert it into chemical energy. Listen, the sun is never going to be included in a food chain. We put it there in our notes today to remind us of where the energy is originally coming from. But food chains themselves only are representing organisms and a transfer of energy. So you don't need to include the sun. A question that they would ask you, Steph, can you join me? A question that they would ask you on the test is where does all the original source of energy come from, and then you would say the sun, right? You wouldn't say a producer in that case. Okay, so we have the grass, and then what do you have? The mouse, and then we have the cat. Give me the fox. I wanted Elijah to go up there just because I wanted to make sure that the arrows were pointing in the correct direction. So we have to make sure that the arrows point into the stomach of the organism, and that looks beautiful. He's just working on his fox. All right, I have one big dog question. Let's wait for Elijah to finish. We get it. We got the fox. Got it. Perfect. Beautiful. Just checking your arrows.
his fox isn't laid.
I know, he's got no legs. It's okay. We love him anyway, though. No, just leave it. Here's my question for you. Big dog. Please don't call out. Which of the 4 organisms up here has the most energy? Which of the 4, so the plant, the rodent, the cat, or the fox, which one in the food chain do you think has the most energy?
Who got the most energy?
Yeah, okay, listen. About half of you are with me. I'm giving you 30 seconds.
This last portion of the video shows our students working collaboratively and independently, usually in 2 different sections that end the class period. They have about 15 minutes where they get to practice some Regents questions independently, and then there are some questions that students will work on collaboratively to come up with an answer.